on. It's Monday. We're getting the day started. Let me see the beautiful faces. Yes, yes, yes. But before we get into this call, you guys go ahead and send this to 3 people, whether they're new, you think they need a breakthrough, send this out to 3 people individually because this really is going to take you next level. Before we get into that, my name is Bailey. I am 23 from Portland, Oregon. I have been a part of this platform for a little over a year now. And the person that's actually going to be going over this information did give me a lot of breakthroughs in this business. I'm just going to be real with you guys. Lots of trials and tribulations going into my first year, but the first year really taught me a lot about this business and how I really am going to be one of the people that sticks around. Drop a 3 in the chat if you feel the same way. Either the speaker on the call or somebody else, a part of your team, maybe a mentor, a leader, gave you breakthroughs in this business. Yeah, no, it's definitely crazy. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to the next speaker. This person actually has, well, it's not a surprise, has done a lot for me in this business. Actually about 2 months ago, this individual gave me a breakthrough at an event. He said, sometimes you have to, it's not about becoming, it's about unbecoming. And that to me really did a lot for me because I thought I kept having to be something, but it was really I needed to let go of all of my negativity and let go of all of my past things to really become the person and the leader I really wanted to be. So that being said, I am going to go ahead and pass it off to this person. Cruiser has helped me a lot in this business. He really is never too big for the small things, and that's something I really admire about him. I walk around at crazy events and conventions and they're like, yo, you have one of the best mentors. And I'm like, I know. He really is the GOAT. Cruiser, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to open this up, and I am ready to take some notes.
Awesome. What's going on, fam? Everybody drop some 777s in the chat for Bailey, one of the top leaders crushing it in Portland. And it's crazy. Her growth over the last year has been absolutely insane. It's, a couple months ago, I saw her really have a breakthrough, really make a decision and take her from where she is to that next level. So I appreciate you for opening up this call. Let me share my screen with y'all. Perfect. So not going to spend too much time on my story today. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name's Cruiser, 26 years old, out here in Miami, Florida. Been involved with the platform full time for over 4+ years. And I've had many different breakthroughs. I've had many different times where I felt stuck, obviously in business, in trading, in life. And there are certain also moment in times where boom, I had breakthroughs and I took myself to the next level and been able to reverse engineer it so I could share it with you guys. What I'm about to tell you guys is actually some information that was shared to me a couple years ago, but I was reminded of it this last week. Tony Robbins actually had a free 5-day training and I hopped on it. It was 2 hours a day, every day for the last 5 days. Some of the best training that I've ever seen. So none of this information is mine. This is stuff that's just been passed down to me from some of the best in the world, in entrepreneurship, in business, in life. And we're going to just jump right into it. If y'all are ready, drop an 888 in the chat and we'll go ahead and get this call started, fam. Let's run it. Let me move the chat box really quick. 1 second. Hold on. I can't see the chat box. 1 second. All right, perfect. All right, so guys, number one, what is a breakthrough? A breakthrough is a moment in time. It's a moment in time where what was a should became a must for you. It was a moment in time where what was impossible before suddenly became possible. Where how many of you guys have seen other people have breakthroughs, or maybe in your own life, somebody went from depressed to happy. Somebody went from being out of shape to the best shape in their life. Somebody went from being broke to financially free. How many of you guys seen this before? Yes or yes in the chat box. We're going to be talking a lot about energy today. We're going to be talking a lot about engagement today. And the truth is if you're listening to this information passively, you'll remember 10% of it in about 30 days, 50 to 60% if you're actually taking notes. But if you're engaged, if you're at high energy, if you're engaging, if you're participating, you'll remember anywhere from 85 to 95%. So we're not just on here saying, hey, say yes or engage or what do you think? Just on accident. We're on purpose with it. So a breakthrough is a moment in time, and that's all it takes. Now, before I get into the details of a breakthrough, what I want to tell you guys is that everything is patterns. Life is patterns. There's pattern recognition, there's pattern utilization, and there's pattern creation. There's a pattern to happiness. There's a pattern to success. There's a pattern to whatever it is that you want. There's a pattern to Chairman 10. There's a pattern to six figures trading. When we're trading, when we're on the charts, what are we doing? We're doing technical analysis. What is technical analysis? It's literally pattern recognition. It's looking patterns that have happened in the past to determine where the market's going in the future. And so it's very important that we start to reflect, because experience is not your best teacher. Evaluated experience is your best teacher. When you can look back and ask yourself, how did I have a breakthrough? What happened? What was the moment in time? And then what can you do? You can use those patterns to have another breakthrough. And then eventually you can create your own patterns. Now, I want everybody to participate in the chat box really quick. I want to know, what was one breakthrough that you've had recently? Or if not recently, the last one that you had. It could be personal or it could be business. And I want everybody just to write a breakthrough that they had in the chat box. What was the situation that you were struggling with for a very long time? And then boom, all of a sudden, you had a breakthrough. Was there a specific moment that changed it all, where what was a should became a must and you just made it happen? And then last but not least was, what made it possible for you to change? Usually for a long-lasting change, there's a certain belief that has to happen, a certain paradigm shift, a certain belief that has to change in order for that to be sustainable over a long period of time. Chat box says, let's see what the chat box says. Being able to see patterns in the market. I remember, Kyla, we were talking about that. Consistency. Eileen's been crazy consistent. The P1 event, that's where it happened. Fix my problem with sleeping in. Yeah, that's that. I feel that. I Am Women's 2021 had a paradigm shift, making a decision in Houston. December 25th, the day God saved me, my relationship with money, the realization of the power of this academy to bring financial freedom, trading breakthroughs, that retracements fall down to leadership, that I got to do it myself when it comes to success, meditation, not letting my family hold me back. This, I don't know about y'all, but this is making me feel some type of way right now. I'm like, wow. Starting esthetician school, gym consistency made me find a better version of myself. P1000 to Barcelona, realizing the true power that we have. 7 days of development, morning routine, self-reflection and development. Damn, I can't even read them all. But every one of us have had breakthroughs in our life. And I'm going to share with you guys the 3 keys to a breakthrough. So check this out. There's 3 keys to a breakthrough. Number 1 is your state. Number 2 is your story. Number 3 is your strategy. And it's 3 S's. So it's easy to remember. Now we're going to actually talk about them in reverse order of importance, talking about strategy first, and then we'll come back to story, and then we'll come back to state. So strategy. A strategy is a method for achieving a particular goal. So let's talk about strategies. When it comes to trading, when it comes to business, when it comes to what it is that we do, if you have the wrong strategy, you are guaranteed failure. So maybe somebody told you the right way to go out there and build the business, but you decided to reinvent the wheel. You decided to do things your own way. Or maybe, maybe your strategy is over leveraging and you're blowing account after account after account. If you have the wrong strategy, you are guaranteed failure. But the right strategy can change everything for you. The right strategy can help you compress time. Maybe you learned risk management. Maybe you learned PS3. Maybe you learned a specific strategy that helped you go out there and it just shifted everything for you. Now, how do you find the right strategies? Easy. The best part about this business is that your success is a direct reflection of how many people that you could help. What does that mean? What that means is your mentor will always help you and they're never going to tell you anything that's going to hurt you. So what do you got to do? You got to find somebody that has exactly what you want in this academy, the results that you want, and do exactly what they tell you to do. I was on a call with Kiani the other day. Shout out to Kiani. It was his birthday yesterday. I appreciate you. I was on a call with John the other day. If they tell me to do something, I'm doing it. Why? Because they have the results that I want. I was talking to Jason Brown yesterday. If he tells me to jump, I say how high. Why? Because they have the results that I want, because they're never going to tell me something that's going to hurt me. They're only going to tell me something that's going to help me. But the problem is ego gets in the way. We want to do things our own way. We want to be the guy. We want to reinvent the wheel sometimes. And don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for innovation, but 99% of the time, if you had a plug and play turnkey system that's worked for tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, you're going to want to follow that system. So let me ask you guys a question. What strategy took your business or your trading to the next level? Drop it in the chat box. What strategy were you like, dang, like, boom, I had this strategy. Well, sorry, I was doing something and it wasn't working. And then all of a sudden I learned this strategy and it took my life to the next level. Events, promoting events, Edgardo says. What about somebody else? Maybe you might have a breakthrough hearing somebody else's breakthrough. Risk management. Yeah, that's a big one that we all had to learn, right? Smart money concepts. That's my favorite. That's my favorite trading strategy. Nick Gomez, price action bootcamp. Amazing. Swipe coin, learning DeLorean, coachability. That's huge. Steady. I love steady. One of my favorite strategies. Creating themes for the week/day. I literally just did that recently. Abel Melendez, amazing educator, connecting to people, collaborating, accountability, AltFi, swipe coin. Y'all can see you could have one strategy and that can literally shift everything for you. Right? So if what you're doing isn't working, then what do you got to do? Boom. Maybe try something different. Now, here's the thing. I told you I was going to give it to you in reverse order of importance. And let me give you an example. Everybody wants to be happy, healthy, wealthy. Wouldn't you agree? Everybody wants to be happier, healthier, wealthier. But in America, 85% of people hate their job. 85% of people are not happy doing what it is that they do 8 to 10 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. 69% of people are out of shape, overweight. 78% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. And let me ask you a serious question. Do you think it's because of a lack of strategies? And the answer is no, obviously not. If I want to go out there and get in better shape, how quickly could I find a strategy on how to do that? We're not even living in the age of information anymore. It's crazy because there's too much information. There's too many strategies. There's too many different ways for you to go out there and make money. There's too many different ways to go out there and get in better shape. There's too many different ways. And what tends to happen is when we have so many options, people get confused and don't do anything at all. So it's not a lack of strategy. Have you ever noticed that a certain strategy will work for somebody else, but it won't work for you? Or a certain strategy will work for you, but it won't work for somebody else? Why is that? Is it because the strategy is broken? No, it's because most people aren't actually applying the strategy. They're not doing what they know that they should be doing. So that moves us to the next. And the funny thing is I'm a strategist. Like, I don't know when people started calling me the man with the plan, and strategies are important. And I teach strategies all the time, but I'm telling you that it is not the most important key to a breakthrough. So the next thing is stories. Hold on. I'm going to try to move something on my screen really quick. One second. All right, perfect. My bad. Something was on my screen. It was distracting me. All right. Perfect. So stories. We all have stories about why we are where it is that we are. So drop a 777 in the chat box if you have heard this before or said this before. Actually, no. Don't even do that. Don't even do that. Don't even do that. Here, I want you guys to fill in the blank for me. What do people tell you? People say, I don't have the what? People say, I don't have the, when it comes to building this business, they say, I don't have the money. I have the money, time, money or time. We've all heard this, or we've all said it. Brain. Who told you I don't have the brain? Yo, that's funny. All right. Now, the second one, people in my city are closed-minded. People in Florida are closed-minded. People in Washington are closed-minded. People in my country are closed-minded. People in my city are closed-minded. My culture are closed-minded. How many of y'all have heard this before? It's just people. It's human nature. It's not my fault because blank, right? It's not my fault because I don't even know. You're blaming something outside of yourself. My upline does this. But Cruiser, you don't understand. My mentor, he does this. Right? The team says it's the leader. The leader says it's the team. The leader said, my team isn't working. Well, are you working? Now, let me ask you this last thing. Let me ask you this last question. I want you guys to fill in the last blank. I've tried blank. You're working with somebody. You're trying to give them the strategies. You're trying to help them out. And they say, I've tried what? Fill in the blank. Everything. And when you question them, you're like, okay, cool, okay. What did you try? So anytime I'm talking to someone and I've tried it, I'm like, okay, what'd you try? They're like, oh, well, I tried a million things. All right, cool. Be specific. What did you try? And then they're like, well, I tried these 2 things that don't work over and over and over again. Because if they tried everything, they'd be a chairman 10. If they tried everything, they'd be a 6-figure trader. If they tried everything, they have the results that they want, right? So what do we got to do? We got to create a more empowering story for ourselves. This is one of my favorite quotes of all time. I'm going to share with you guys a few powerful quotes. You guys can screenshot this if you wish to, because I'm going to go kind of quick. But the moment that you blame people, places, situations outside of your control, you take away power from the one person who has the ability to change your life, which is you. We need to take 100% responsibility for our success. We need to take 100% responsibility for our life. We need to take 100% responsibility for our results. Mandy was talking about this on a leadership call yesterday. She said, you know, if things are going wrong, take the blame. When things are going right, you give away the credit to your team. The moment that you blame people, places, situations, circumstances outside of your control, you take away power from the one person that has the ability to change your life, which is yourself. Now, when people say, I don't have the time, when people say, I don't have the money, when people say, I don't have this, I don't have that, what are they saying? They're saying, I don't have the resources. What they don't understand is that it's never a lack of resources. It's always a lack of resourcefulness, right? How is it that you could have 2 people from the same area, from the same place, from the same background, One goes out there and has massive success. One blames his circumstances. Answer is because it's never, ever, ever, ever a lack of resources. It's always a lack of resourcefulness. When you want something bad enough, guess what? You're going to find a way, or you're going to make the way 100% of the time. Now, this is one of my favorite quotes that I heard from Tony over the last few days. He said, divorce the story of your limitations and marry the truth of your unlimited nature. If you could change your story, if you could change the way that you speak to yourself, if you could change your paradigm, if you could shift your mindset, if you could create a more empowering story, you could change your entire life. But here's the thing. The reality is most people get stuck in this vicious cycle. Most people get stuck thinking the same things, taking the same actions, getting the same results, and wishing for something to change. And so the most important is not story, it's actually your state. If you could change your state, then you'll start to change your story. And so your state is what? Your state is how you feel. I want you guys to understand that energy is everything. It doesn't matter if we're talking about business. It doesn't matter if we're talking about trading. It doesn't matter if we're talking about relationships. Let me ask you guys a question. I want you to think, maybe you're in a relationship right now. Maybe you're not, but you've been really excited in a relationship before. When you're in a new relationship, or you're trying to get into a new relationship with somebody, what would you do for that person? Drop it in the chat box. When you're in a new relationship, or you're trying to get into a new relationship with someone, what would you do for that person? I want you to drop the answer in the chat box. Anything, 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 and everything. Right? They tell you that they want you to take out the trash. You're taking out the trash, right? And then what happens? After 7 days, 7 weeks, 7 months, 7 years, somewhere in between, they tell you to take out the trash, and you're like, yo, like, what do I look like? Do I look like your janitor, right? And why is that? It's because of your emotional state. It's because of how you feel. It's because of your energy. And it's not just relationships, it's your business, it's your life. So it's all about learning how to manage your emotions, learning how to manage your state, learning how to manage how you feel. Because if you can do that, everything starts to change. You'll create a more empowering story. You'll find the strategy if there isn't a strategy, or if you have the strategy, you'll actually apply it. Why? Because of your state. Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny in the chat box. All right. I'm not going to dive deep into this today. This is a whole hour-long conversation, but there are 8 levels of consciousness. And if you're operating from a place of desire, I don't know how, I want you guys to think back of you had a goal. You had something that you wanted so bad that you would find a way or make the way. It didn't matter what you had to do. If you're operating from a place of desire, can we agree that you're going to take different actions than you would from a place of fear? If you're scared, like extremely scared, you're not going to take any action at all because you can't from that fearful state. If you're operating from a place of happiness, you're going to take completely different actions than you would if you're operating from a place of apathy, of not caring, right? If you're operating from a place of anger, if you're mad, if you're angry, you're going to take completely different actions than you would if you were operating from a place of love. So what I'm trying to tell you is you need to learn how to manage your state. So everybody wants to change their results. Everybody wants to change their bank account. Everybody wants to change how they look. Everybody wants to change and become more happy or whatever it is. But in order for us to change our results, we got to change our actions. We don't get new results with old actions. And again, we're not going to change our actions unless we could change our state, unless we could change how we ultimately feel. And we have states where they come and go, but we also have an emotional home. We also have a place that we tend to go back to. I call it an emotional home, right? It's where you live emotionally most of the time, and it's a habit. So understand this: when you are in a peak state, when you feel good, when you're operating on a high frequency, when you're excited, anything is possible. But on the opposite end, when you're in a bad state, when you're in a negative state, when you're in a depressed state, when you're in a fearful state, or worse, when you're in apathy, when you just don't care anymore, absolutely nothing is possible. So the quality of your emotions equals the quality of your life. Forget about success. Just in general, the quality of your emotions equals the quality of your life. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, would you rather be a billionaire who is depressed, or somebody who isn't where they want to be financially, but they're happy? Obviously, the answer is you want to have both. You want to make money and be happy. But what I'm saying is the quality of your emotions equals the quality of your life. So now that we've talked about how important your energy is, how energy is everything, here's the next question. The next question is this: where does energy come from? In fact, I want you guys to drop it in the chat box. Where does energy come from? Drop it in the chat box. Take a guess. Within. That's a good answer. Yourself. Those are great answers. Those are great answers. You know what's funny? When you ask this question, usually people will say, oh, energy comes from food, or energy comes from sleep. And I think we've all ate something and felt no energy, or we've all had 8+ hours of sleep, 10+ hours of sleep, and you still felt no energy. But the answer is it is from within. Energy is a decision. Energy is a choice. Energy is a habit. What did we talk about earlier? We talked about patterns. We talked about pattern recognition. We talked about pattern utilization, and we talked about pattern creation. There's certain patterns, there's certain things that people with high energy do that people with low energy or no energy don't do. So energy is a decision at first, and then ultimately over time, just like anything else, becomes a habit. And so I'm going to give you guys a few things in his program. Tony called it 5 to Thrive. 5 things that high achievers do to change their state so that they can change their story, so they can find the strategy or apply the strategies to change their life. And so 5 things. Number 1 is your physiology. Number 2 is your focus. Number 3 is your language. Number 4 is visualizing a compelling future. I think I spelled that wrong. Number 5 is your understanding the importance of your identity. So we're going to talk about each of these things in depth. So number 1 is your physiology. Now, this is the one that most people, I feel, would be surprised by, because you take that word emotion, right? Emotion is created by motion. People with high energy use their body in certain ways where people with low energy don't at all. And so let me give you just one example. So Amy Cuddy from Harvard did a study on power poses where they would take people and put them in these powerful poses, whether it would be like, standing like your favorite superhero, or whether it be like, the person at the office with their, hands behind their head and their feet kicked up on their desk, just these powerful postures, these powerful poses. And guess what they found? What they found was, scientifically speaking, there's science behind everything that I'm talking about. testosterone increases by 20%, stress hormone, cortisol, the stress hormone, decreases by 25%, and your risk tolerance, where you would normally not take action, you were 33% more likely to take action than you would before. So understand this, how you use your body is going to determine how you feel. If I describe to you, hey, in the next room over here, there's a depressed person, and I asked you, are they breathing slow? Are they breathing fast? Are they looking up? Are they looking down? How are they using their body? Are their shoulders back or are their shoulders down? You could literally describe their posture. Same thing when it comes to high achievers. Same thing when it comes to people with high energy. Same thing when it comes to people with high energy. They use their body in a certain way. So this is something that you might want to look into. A huge, for me personally, I like to go to the gym. I don't really like to go to the gym to necessarily work out, to be honest with you. I like to go to the gym because how it makes me feel afterwards, right? Because human beings weren't designed to be sitting at a desk all day, every day, which is what most people do, right? They're at their 9 to 5 and they're sitting there all day, every day. And so of course, if you're not moving your body, if you're not using it, then you're going to feel a certain type of way versus somebody else who understands what it is that we're talking about. So this is something that you want to look into more, but understand that your physiology is important. That emotion is created by motion. So that's number one. Number two is your focus, right? So you can shift your focus at will. Focus equals feeling. Whatever you're focused on, you're going to feel. There's always a reason to be upset, but at the same time, there's always a reason to be grateful. There's always something that you can be grateful for. Whatever you focus on, you're going to feel, even if it's not true, right? How many of you have ever been in your own head? You were focused on something, you felt, I'm trying to think of a good example for you guys. I don't know about you guys, but most people, what they do is they have these worst case scenarios in their head. Oh, if I talk to this person, this is going to happen. If I do a presentation with this person, they're going to say no, right? You're focused on something that's not going to happen. It gives you anxiety. You're feeling something even if it's not necessarily true. So here are 3 simple questions that you could ask yourself to really shift your focus. Number one is, do you tend to focus on what you have, or do you tend to focus on what's missing in your life? Most people tend to focus on what's missing in their life. For me, I'm focused on what I have. I'm focused on what I'm grateful for. I'm focused on the blessings, right? Because whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you celebrate accelerates. So when you're focused on how is God going to give you more if you're not grateful for what you have right now? The next question is, do you tend to focus on what you can control or what you can't control? 95% of people are focused on what they can't control. They're literally reacting to life. They're so focused on what other people think about them. They're so focused on anything and everything outside of what they can control. You can control your attitude and you can control your work ethic. If you're focused on anything other than that, then you're wasting energy that could be used to go out there and create a new future. Do you tend to focus on your future? Do you tend to focus on your present? Or do you tend to focus on your past? You see, most people replay their past in their head over and over and over and over again. Successful people, they're pre-playing their future, right? They're visualizing their future. They're pre-playing their future over and over and over again. Are you focused on the future? Are you focused on the present? Are you focused on the past? Successful people, yeah, obviously, they're kind of balanced between, focusing on the future and in the present. Obviously, there's certain, right now, I'm in the present moment. Right now, I'm operating in this flow state. Right now, I don't even know what I'm about to say next. Whatever comes out, right? I'm just I'm just flowing right now, right? But that's what they do is they're focused on their vision of the future, but at the same time, they're kind of balancing between that and the present moment. But at the end of the day, you can't oftentimes move forward if you're looking backwards at the same time. If I'm driving in a car, if I'm looking at my rear view mirror, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna crash, right? So focus equals feeling. Whatever you focus on expands. You need to focus on what you have rather than what's missing. You need to focus on what you can control rather than what you can't control. You need to focus on the future, and you need to focus on being present rather than focusing on the past all the time. Now, number 3 is language. We use certain words that increase our energy, and we use certain words that decrease our energy. Now, one of my favorite quotes is, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth using only his words, right? Now, affirmations are really, really important. I Am Academy is literally an affirmation. The name of the company was designed because they understood that I am are the 2 most powerful words in the English language. Anything you say after I am, you start to become. Anything that you say after the words I am now starts to happen. Anything that you say after the words I am goes into creation. They're the most powerful words in the English language. One of my favorite books, I have it here with me. Supposedly the book that's created more millionaires than any other book in the world, Think and Grow Rich. In the book, it says, faith is a state of mind which may be created by repeated instruction to the subconscious mind through, I don't know why I put through twice, through the principle of autosuggestion, talking to yourself. So you need to watch the way that you speak to yourself. You need to realize that 99% of the conversations that you have are going to be between you and you. And some people on this call, the way that you talk to yourself so negatively, you wouldn't talk that way about your worst enemy. Can I be real? Some people on this call, you beat yourself up so much, you would not do that to your worst enemy. So what do you need to do? You need to shift your language. You need to shift the way that you're talking to yourself. There's something called a softener. A softener is, let's say you take someone who's pissed off. Let's say you take someone who is outraged, and rather than saying I'm pissed off or I'm outraged, you say I'm a little bit upset. Or next time that you're super, feeling depressed, you say the words, I'm feeling a little bit sad, and you kind of soften the way that you feel. And instantly you'll actually start to feel a little bit better. So most people allow what they see to dictate how they feel. You look at the back office and let's say the numbers dropped and you're speaking retracement into your life, right? I don't do that. I speak overflow into the back office, and guess what? Overflow takes place in the back office, right? And we're not just talking about business. If you speak overflow into, your business, your life, relationships, overflow will take place in your life. And understand this, your words have power to create and your words have power to destroy, especially, yes, with yourself, but also with your team, also with other people. You have no idea how much a little bit of appreciation goes when you tell someone that you appreciate them. You have no idea how, if you criticize somebody, how much that could affect their self-confidence. So make sure that you are using the right language to raise your own energy and to raise the language of your team. You got to watch the way that you speak and be very intentional. So number 4, visualize a compelling future. So people say, hey, Cruiser, back in 2015, 2016, when you went an entire year making no money in your first home-based business, how were you consistent every single day? How did you not give up? And the answer is easy. The answer is I was able to borrow from the vision of the future to engage in the activities today. I saw myself at Chairman 10 years before I was a Chairman 10. And then time caught up and I hit Chairman 10. Right now, you know what I see? I don't see myself as a Chairman 10. I see myself as a Chairman 100. It's already done. I've already helped 10 people hit Chairman 10. Time just has to catch up. That's the way that you have to think. And when you're borrowing the vision from the vision of the future, you're able to engage in the activities today. Because most people have instant gratification. You need to understand delayed gratification. Good things take time. If it was easy to become financially free, everybody would do it. Guess what? It takes time. When this is really important, understand this. When you get emotionally involved with an idea, the subconscious mind, which controls everything, by the way, cannot differentiate fantasy from reality. So if you see yourself as a Chairman 10 over and 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 over again, and you have the emotion and you have the intensity behind it, that's what you have to become. Now, you guys want to hear something crazy? If you want to hear something crazy that I've never told anybody before, drop a 777 in the chat. Let me turn this video off my phone really quick. Let me show you. You know what I was doing when I was a Platinum 0? This is what I was doing. Listen to this. I recorded this and I turned it into like a little audio. And when I was a Platinum 0, Platinum 150, Platinum 600, Platinum 1000, Platinum 2000, I played this every single day and I literally burned this sound into my brain. This is not a joke. There's hundreds of views on this video. This is an unlisted video. Nobody watched this video but me. And I listen to this every morning, every night, over and over and over and over and over again. And I felt it. I could literally feel it. No way. You guys couldn't hear that? For real? Oh, you can't hear it? Basically, it's just here. It's just a chairman chant. That's all it is. It's a song where everyone's just screaming, "I'm a chairman" at the top of their lungs. It was at an event and I recorded it and I turned it into an audio and I would play it over and 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 over again. And I'm telling you, it's very easy to, I just hear screaming, I'm dead. Yeah, it's kind of hard to hear it. But yeah, it's very easy to look at some of these people that hit Chairman 10 and be like, wow, like how did they get there? And you don't realize that like everything that they're telling you is like is real. Like you can't make this stuff up. Like I have the receipts. Like I literally, like I have the video with hundreds of views on it and I'm the only one who's listened to it. And I literally burned it into my brain. And when you get emotionally involved with an idea, the subconscious mind cannot differentiate fantasy from reality. Have you ever woke up from a bad dream, just extremely pissed off? This happened to me the other day. It's so funny because the other day I had a bad dream. It was like 2 days ago. And I woke up so angry. Like I felt like I could feel like the anger like coming out. I was so mad just because I had this bad dream. It was as if it had actually happened. Same thing with your goals. Your subconscious mind, which controls everything, how you think, how you act, how you feel. It cannot differentiate fantasy from reality. So if you are visualizing yourself at your potential, not where it is that you are now, but as if that is already done, and you combine that with emotion, that's what you have to become. Scientifically speaking, when your brain is a record of the past. When you wake up, you think the same thoughts. 95% of them are the same as the day before. You can think about certain people, see certain people, and then think about the problems in your life. Your brain is literally a record of the past. But when you close your eyes and you focus on a vision of the future, you're actually creating what's called synaptic connections in your brain. That's what a memory is. So, for example, if I'm playing the piano, after I play the piano for a week, if someone did a brain scan on me, they would see synaptic connections in my brain. But guess what? If somebody next to me didn't touch the piano at all, but just visualized it, they would have those same synaptic connections in their brain. There's physical evidence in your brain to look like whatever future event you're visualizing has already taken place. And now your brain is no longer a record of the past, but it is actually a map to the future. There's science behind mental rehearsal. Last but not least, guys, let's talk about identity. Yeah, I can send you guys this slideshow for sure. All right, so last but not least is identity. We're going to talk about this and wrap this thing up. So the strongest force in the human personality is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. So if you see people that are struggling to change, it's because they see themselves in a certain way. So I always tell people, you're not a procrastinator. If you say I'm a procrastinator, it's a way of you seeing yourself. You're not a procrastinator. You have a habit of procrastinating. There's a huge difference. You're not a smoker. You're not a drinker. You have a habit of smoking and drinking. And if you've done that for 10 years, 20 years, yeah, of course, it's going to be extremely uncomfortable when you try to stop, when you're trying to do something new. I saw myself as a shy person. I saw myself as someone who couldn't speak in front of people. I saw myself as somebody who was an introvert, but that is not really the case. I just had a habit of being shy. I had never put myself out there, right? And so I want you to think of your identity as like your thermostat for your life, your thermostat for success. Right now, the thermostat in my house is set at 75 degrees. If it gets hotter outside, then instantly air conditioning will turn on and lower it right back down. If it gets colder outside, heater turns on, heat goes right back up. So when you start to get outside of your comfort zone, what will tend to happen is you'll see people start to level up for a little bit, and then boom, they'll come right back down to whoever it is that they think that they are. Or vice versa, maybe, maybe I'll use being in shape as an example. There was a couple years ago when I was personally in the worst shape of my life, and it got so bad that I was like, okay, like this is not who I am. And then boom, there was a breakthrough, a moment in time where I just made a change and, started taking the gym more seriously. If you're an athlete, you see yourself in a certain way. If you see some of the workouts that these athletes do, I'm talking about the best of the world, you would think that they were insane, but that's just who they are. That's how they see themselves. They look at you like you're crazy. And your identity has to, in order for you to have lasting change, you have to learn how to shift your identity. So what if I told you that 99% of people don't know who they are? I remember I heard one of my mentors, here's what he said. He said, I'm trying to think of how he put it. He said this: If you ask somebody who they are, the first thing that they're going to tell you is their name. Like, oh, of course I know who I am. I'm Cruiser. But your name is just a word that your parents gave to you. It's not who you are. That's why it's my name, right? So then you say, oh, okay, this is you. Like, this is you, like your body. You don't say, hey, you don't call your boss and say, body's not coming into work today, right? It's my name. It's my body. So who am I? That's an interesting question. And I feel that if people really took what I just said and really started to study that you would be absolutely mind blown. If you focus on answering this question and you figure out who it is that you really are, your entire life will start to change. And here's the answer. The answer is that you are a triune being. I am a triune being. Number one, most importantly, first and foremost, I am a spiritual being. I have an intellect and I live in a physical body. I'll explain this more in detail. But because we live in a physical body, we're not aware of all this stuff. We're so locked into a physical world. That's why we let things outside of us control us. We let our bank account tell us how much we're worth. We let our bank account tell us how much our self-worth is, right? We let people around us dictate how we feel. We let our circumstances dictate how we act. We let the world tell us who it is that we are. It's all physical. So here's a question. Are you a product of your environment, or is your environment a product of you? It's an interesting question. And so there's cause and effect, waiting for things to change outside of you in order for you to change how you feel on the inside. And then there's causing an effect, which is changing how you think and feel now, which changes everything in your entire life. So understand this. I am a spiritual being. You are a spiritual being. What does that mean? What that means is we deal in thoughts, right? We, as a spiritual being, you and I, we deal in thoughts. Thought is energy. In fact, thought waves are cosmic waves. What does that mean? That means that they penetrate all time and space. Thinking is the highest form, the highest function that you and I are actually capable of. And what do? There's thought energy that's flowing to and through you. I don't know about you guys, but there's thought energy that flows to and through me. Thoughts are coming to my brain right now as I speak, right? And we take this thought energy and we build an idea. If I take a look at this phone, my desk, these AirPods, everything around started as an idea. And so I'll give you another example. Animals operate by instinct. You and I operate using our intellect. If you see a flock of geese flying south for the winter, they don't have the ability to turn around. You and I, we're not geese, so guess what we could do? We could turn around. We can make a change, right? We have intellectual factors that no other creature on the planet has. We have imagination, we have will, we have intuition, we have memory, we have reason, we have perception. These are intellectual factors that you and I have that most people don't know how to use. And so we take this thought energy, we build up an idea, and there's an individual. His name was, what was his name? His name was Andrew Carnegie, the wealthiest person in the 1800s. And he talked about the law of perpetual transmutation. And he said this, he said, any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, that has emotion behind it, that's either feared or revered, will begin to clothe itself in the most convenient and physical form available. If you could see it in your mind, you could hold it in your hand. So Chairman 100, what do? Like it starts as a thought, and then it becomes an idea. You become emotionally involved with it. You write it down, and it happens in the spiritual. And then obviously, yes, you got to go out there, put in the physical work, but boom, then it happens later on in the physical. One of my favorite quotes of all time comes from Joe Dispenza. I study him a lot. You know what he said? He said this. He said that thoughts are the length. He said thoughts, when you think, like I said, you send out energy. That's an absolute fact. He said that thoughts are, what's the word I'm looking for? He said thoughts are the electrical charge and feelings are the magnetic charge. So when you think, the energy goes out into the quantum field, and when you feel a certain emotion, that energy is drawn back to you. And how you think and how you feel, that's your state of being, right? And your state of being affects everything around you. Your energy affects everything around you. It's not what you think, it's not how you feel, it's both. So what do you have to have? You have to have a clear intention. You have to know exactly what it is that you want, combined with an elevated emotion. Why do you think we say, I'm so happy and grateful now? Because we're combining a elevated emotion, happy and grateful, with a clear intention. Now that I am a Chairman 100. Now that I've helped 10 people hit Chairman 10. And when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you will collapse time and space, and what you want will be drawn to you. That's not my quote. That's Dr. Joe Dispenza's quote. If you can see it in your mind, then you can hold it in your hand, and what was spiritual will boom. Thoughts, ideas into things, right? And so I'm out of time. So the last thing I'm going to tell you guys is this. How do you start to shift your identity? Well, our belief system is based upon our evaluation of something. And frequently, if we reevaluate a situation, our belief about it will change. I had reevaluated who I thought that I was. And so if repetition of information formed my mindset, then repetition of information is going to shift my mindset. I think of my belief system as a table, and the legs of the table are like references that support that belief. And the more emotional these references are, the more sturdy that the table, the belief is about yourself. So what do you have to do? You have to, all this information that we're talking about, you have to listen to it, or you have to read it over and over and over and over and over again. Information doesn't change your situation. It's the repetition of information over and over and over and over again, and the emotional impact with it. And that's it. With that being said, guys, if you want to have a breakthrough in 2022, all you have to do is learn how to shift your state. If you can shift your state, if you can control how you feel, if you can manage your emotions, you'll create a much more empowering story for yourself. And if you create an empowering story for yourself, you're going to find the right strategy and apply the right strategy, and breakthroughs are going to take place in your life. So with that being said, appreciate you all. That is everything. Have an amazing rest of your guys' day. If you have any questions, y'all know where to find me. Hit me up on Instagram. Have an amazing rest of your day. Oh, I will say this. Tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern, we're having a weekly outlook. We're going to be kind of going over charts and trade ideas for the week. So share that with your teams. Have them hop on. Appreciate y'all for listening in. Have an amazing rest of your day. Talk to y'all soon.